of that among us. We hear them from time to time. Yeah, brother, I used to go to masjid. I used to go to Fajr prayer every day. I used to read the Quran when I was young. I used to always read the Quran. I used to. I remember I used to give zakat and I used to give sadaqah. I used to. One thing I learned about Allah is that He refuses to allow His servants to take Him for granted. See, you can't say, well, I fasted last year, or I made Salatul Fajr yesterday. What about this morning? What about this year for fasting? So you can't be used to be. What did you do for Allah lately? And sometimes we like to hold on to our laurels, what we did in the past, and think that's sufficient. It's not sufficient. And we have to continue to do everything for Allah every day. In my conclusion, be humble. Why? Be humble because number one, it's Allah's mercy, in addition to your works, that He give you the gift of Jannah. Number two, be careful, because Allah has a way sometimes of turning things around. If you saw me 23 years ago in the Nation of Islam and some did, yo, mushrik, you brother in the hellfire. You brother, you're not following the Quran and the Sunnah, and they were right. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was merciful, allowed me into His deen, was merciful. Allah helped guide me into Islam, so I became Muslim, alhamdulillah. And now the greatest thing that I cherish more than anything in life is Muslim. There's nothing better to me, more loved by me than my Islam. Nothing more loved by me than the fact that Allah blessed me to be Muslim. And I love to get up, to make prayer to Allah, to fast in Ramadan, to read the Quran. I'm thankful to Allah because I know where I was. You hear me? I know where I was. Some of you were blessed, never had poison your body with alcohol, or some of the things that non-Muslims do. I was there. I was in the dunya, and some of you now thinking to run back to go or to run to the dunya. And many Americans running from the dunya, running to Islam. Now some Muslims now running to the dunya as we run to Islam. Allahu waliyuddina aminu yukhrijuhum min adh-dhulumati ila an-nur. Allah is the friend of those who believe. He takes them out of the darkness and He guides them into the light. But shaitan takes you from the light and take you to the darkness. So one day you can be this close to Jannah, and then you begin to do the work of the people of the hellfire, and then you die in that position. Be humble. And finally I say this to you. You know what Allah does? He makes me dependent upon this brother. He makes us to depend on one another. Because I can't do it by myself. Because as a Muslim now is a jama'ah. If I want to get a better reward, then I make prayer, yes. But if I want a bigger reward, I want to pray with you. I want to pray with somebody. I want to pray in jama'ah. Because if I pray in jama'ah, I get a bigger reward. I'm not by myself. And this is why the Prophet said, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Haqqu Muslima ala Muslim khams. A right of a Muslim over another Muslim is fine. Raddu salam. Now I can't give salam to myself, but I have to give it to you and return it from you. And now we go around, Afshu salam bainakum, assalamu alaikum, assalamu alaikum, assalamu alaikum. Wallahi azim, I was in a cab. We got one of those called, what do you call dollar cabs. It takes you for a period and 3, 4, 5 people get in the car. So we were sitting there and people were getting in the car and I didn't know the driver. And I saw a Muslim brother out in the street that I know. He said, Imam Salah, I said, Assalamu alaikum. And the driver said, Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. He was a Muslim. I didn't know it. He didn't know I was a Muslim, I guess. So and then we started talking. And when it's time for me to get out, I'm trying to pay him and he didn't want me to pay him. I'm giving him money, he's pushing me away, I'm pushing his hand, we fighting. I'm trying to give him money, he's trying not to take the money. So the Prophet ﷺ is right that when you spread salams, it makes you love one another. Even though we're strangers, we start loving one another. And we talk to one another. Just assalamu alaikum. That's all. Accidentally. So now there's a relationship that we have. Allah don't put you there by yourself. Now you give zakat to somebody in need. Now you have to follow the janazah of somebody that died. Relationship. And then we are so foolish. It amazes me that some Muslims are so pious, so dedicated to Allah, so much service to Allah, and maybe they will go to Jannah if not for their tongue, if not for their tongue. Al-Muslimu man salim al-Muslimuna min lisanihi wa yadihi. A Muslim is one whose other Muslims are saved by their hand and tongue. You mean to tell me because I don't go to your masjid, I'm not in your madhab? You think you have the right to talk about me, I have the right to talk against you? You think because I'm not the same color as you, or I don't speak the same language as you, that I have the right to talk about you, you have the right to talk about me? You think because we don't have the same gender? I say, you know what? Be humble. Because guess what? Because all that you do for Allah can be taken away. And you become muflis. You know what a muflis is? The Prophet ﷺ asked his companions, do you know what a muflis is? A muflis is a person who becomes bankrupt. So yeah, a muflis is a person who has no money and no property. He says, a muflis among my ummah are those who will come on Yawm al-Qiyamah, the salat, with zakat, with siyam. All of this you will come with on Yawm al-Qiyamah. Look Allah, look at all I prayed every day. Look at all this I did. All the tahajjud I did, all the zakat that I did, a mountain of zakat. But, shatama hadha, you cursed this Muslim. You beat this one. You stole from this one. You murdered that one. And on the day of Yawm al-Qiyamah, Allah will take your good deeds and give it to that person that you backbited. Come on, think with me. Think, man, tongue, think. You get up from Salah and you backbited some other Muslim. Don't you know you're going to have to pay him on Yawm al-Qiyamah? Well, I got me a few dollars. You ain't paying no dollars on that day. Paying with your deeds. So you think because you have a different understanding, your understanding is better than his? You think you have a right to step on somebody because they don't understand how you understand? Allah's my witness. I love every one of you here. Let me tell you why. I believe that some of you sitting here right now are the best of Muslims. Better than me. Wallahi. I think you sitting there, many of you are better than me. You have more taqwa than me. You have more knowledge of Quran than me, more Arabic than me, more history than me, more eloquent than me. Wallahi, I believe most of you better than me, much better than me. But even so, there's some of you just barely holding on to your deen. I know that. Some of you didn't even want to come tonight, but your mother and father made you come. Some of you are hanging on the threads to your Islam. Some of you even selling drugs. Some of you take drugs. Some of you commit fornication. Some of you had an abortion list last week. I know that. But even so, I still love all of you. Let me tell you why. Because Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, Al-mu'minu qawiyyu khayrun wa habba illa Allah min al-mu'min al-da'if wa fi kulli khayr. Al-mu'minu qawiyyu, a strong believer, khayrun wa ahabba ila Allah, ahabba ila Allah, ahabba ila Allah, more loved by Allah, more loved than a weak believer, but there's good in all of them. So I know some of you are weak, but you got a little piece of Iman. That's to teach me, brothers and sisters, be careful. Because Allah has a way sometimes of turning things around.